The materials you'll need for this project include a glass container that has an opening, succulent cuttings, sand, activated charcoal, cactus compost, and optional ornaments. Hi, I'm Tanya from Lovely Greens, and today I'm delighted to have a guest presenter and artisan with me, Ashley Bentley of A Bee's Knees, who's going to show us how to make
some terrariums. Hello, Tanya. Yes, thank you very much for having me. We're going to do a traditional glass terrarium and a not so traditional terrarium or succulent planter, whatever you want to call it, in a little trinket box. And it's going to be very quick and simple and easy to make and a lot of fun.
Brilliant!
Yeah.
Let's get going.
Okay.
The basic steps for this project include collecting your succulents and cuttings, then taking your glass container and putting in a layer of sand, a thin layer of activated charcoal, a layer of cactus compost, arranging your succulents inside, and then watering well. All right.
Right, so let's get started with terrariums.
So what kind of terrarium are we going to make first?
The first one we're going to make is one in a glass, it's in a teardrop shape. You can find these online or possibly in a garden centre where you live.
Yeah.
And it's the first thing you want to think about when doing a terrarium is a little bit of forward planning, because when you take little cuttings from these plants here, you need to give them a couple of days to form a little callus right where you've made the cutting. So otherwise they're incredibly easy. They're so easy to do and really forgiving.
So you take cuttings from a plant like this.
Yes.
Can you take it from any part of the plant?
Any part of the plant, and see one just sort of, this one especially just kind of comes off very, very easily. There we go, that's just come off. Or you can just use your finger and just cut it off there. And then, yeah, just give it a few days, 2 to 3 days, sort of in indirect light to just make it form a little callus over. So the first thing we want to do is have some drainage for your terrarium, which is sand. You can also use pebbles, but as this is a small terrarium, it's probably best to use a little bit of sand.
So what kind of sand is this? Is it sharp sand that you can get at the garden centre?
Yeah, you can use that. I mean, luckily we live on an island and this is straight from the beach.
Okay.
So
if you get it from the beach, do you have to wash it, or?
Do you know, I'm sure you probably should, but I never have. And one of the things that guarantees that you're going to be fine and not have to wash it is the next step, which is the charcoal. The charcoal just guarantees that anything that may be sort of living in the sand and any water that you put in, it's not going to create any mold.
That's clever.
Yeah, so we just put a little layer of charcoal. You don't need too much. That's about enough. Now the next thing we need is a bit of soil. And the lovely thing again about succulents is they don't need a whole lot of soil. They don't need a whole lot of depth to grow. Mm-hmm. So anything from an inch really. And this is a cactus and succulent soil potting mix. One of the things we want to do is we want to create a little bit of height at the back of the terrarium. So we're going to put a little bit more soil in the back.
So why do you create that height in the back?
It just gives a little bit more dimension to the overall terrarium rather than it just being flat. It gives it a little bit of a trailing sort of.
So the succulents are kind of a little bit higher in the back.
Exactly.
Okay.
It just kind of fills the whole space a bit nicer.
Great.
So we've got this now. Now, right before I put anything in, I'm just going to give it a little spray, which makes it easier to work with the soil. Right, okay, now we are ready to start putting some succulents in. And as you would expect, we probably need to put what's going in the back in first.
So do you have any recommendations for type of succulent that you put in the back?
anything that takes your fancy. I mean, what we're going to do, because this is a tall teardrop shape, it can take a bit of height, which really adds some interest. So we're going to put one of these little jade plants in. And there will be some slight issues of, oh, is it going to topple over? Oh, you just kind of use your finger, use the, I love the back of the spoon, because you can just press the soil around it. Now, this is something that was growing on top of a stone wall near my house. So you don't always need to go to your garden center. You can actually find succulents growing wild depending on where you are in the world. And these are great because you don't really have to plan ahead so much with them, because they have a lot of little roots trailing all around them, so you don't need to wait for a callus. And these are just growing in a bit of moss, so what I'm going to do is just try and find a really nice thick one. And this is going to be trailing out of the front of the terrarium. So we want to do these next, so we can put some soil on top of them and they will stay put. Right, so you could hold that right there. And I'm going to keep my finger on them as well. Get a little bit more soil. And just put it directly on top of where those roots are. And pack it down. Go. So then we'll take this. So I think these are all right for the moment. I'm going to give another little spray. Just a tiny little spray.
Is this just water that you're spraying them with?
This is just plain water. Plain tap water. Now is the fun bit. So now we can let's take a nice, somewhat big little hen and chick, and we're just going to stick him into the soil there. Jade. Now, what's fun is to put a little tiny figurine or a little trinket. You can make your own. These I just made out of air dry clay, and you can stick a little floral wire in there. Or you can buy some online. These are very cute. I really like these little mushroom toadstools. So we're going to sit that back right there. As there's some trailing bits there, we want to kind of give it a nice little cushion to lay back on. So I'm just going to bend the wire in here. So it's a bit long. You can cut it, but this gives it a nice base to it. So now just pick a little area. I think this area right here would work well. So just stick him down there. And there we go. And now just fill the rest of it.
I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial from Lovely Greens and the Bee's Knees. If you have, check out these other videos, including how to make a sea glass candle, how to build a better strawberry pallet planter, and how to convert wooden pallets into these rustic trugs. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.